So we're going to go back to our brother Konsu, and he's going to tell us not only what Manhood Academy do, but also talk a little bit about the curriculum that they have. How do you fit in, and what's your vision, brother?
Well, at Manhood Academy, our specialist field is rites of passage, which is coming of age from boyhood to manhood. And we deem it the missing link in terms of the solutions with our young people. In indigenous cultures globally, whether it's in ancient China, ancient India, ancient Africa, even ancient Europe, rites of passage was a prerequisite from boyhood to manhood and girlhood to womanhood. So at the moment with our young people are, a lot of them are warrior class. They are warriors in nature. And there's a statistic that says that testosterone in your average teenage boy of 13 to 19 rises by 800% in adolescence, 800%. If that energy is not channeled, as the old African proverb goes, our young people will burn down the village. So that energy has to be channeled. And if not channeled, we're seeing what's happening right now. Our young people, not all of our young people, but some of our young people will implode on each other in order to exhaust their testosterone. So rites of passage in all cultures, and we can take an ideal model of rites of passage, and that is in the Jewish community. Now in Israel, once you reach a certain age in your teenage years, for 2 years, you have to serve in the Israeli military, which is in essence rites of passage. But other cultures do not have the soul and spiritual aspect that we have in indigenous Africa. So you will serve your country, and in doing so, 2 years separated from your family, you will come back as a man. Also, the spiritual aspect and the model in the Jewish community is you also have a Jewish bar mitzvah. That's the spiritual aspect. All right, which raises you to be responsible in the community. All right, those things are missing in our culture. They were there back in the ancient days, and they were a standard practice. In the African village, it was a standard practice. Let's take boys, for a boy to be taken away for a while by the wise elder men and built up and be taught what it is to be a man. All right, that's the missing link in our view in Manhood Academy of what our young people need. If in an ideal world, projects of rites of passage will be spread right across the UK. All right, you have models of it over here in terms of the Prince's Trust, where young people go through a process and it's character building, but the spiritual and cultural aspect is missing. So that's what we do at Manhood Academy with our young people, and we just think it's just essential that we address doing things differently.
And and at this stage and juncture in our history, it's about us systemizing that. And that's the whole point of the pipeline. As we know, you've got multiple branches, and this is a London organization that can be national. And there are colleagues that you work with, such as WYLA and Origin, who collaboratively provide that service and are quite capable of doing it nationally. And also contributing to our educational curriculum as well. So just tell us a little bit about the curriculum as you sum up.
Okay, well, at Manhood Academy, say for example, in school, you got maths, English, science, geography, art. Our curriculum is earth, air, fire, and water, the primordial elements. So what's missing, say for example, in the school curriculum is speaking to the soul. So in essence, if we was to put in a sentence, we speak to the soul of our young people culturally. And for example, let's go through the curriculum in like a bite-sized version. The earth element is to do with grounding. The earth element addresses the question, who am I? Which is a metaphysical concept, but we simplify it for the young people. Way down the line, when in their 30s or 40s, they might be like, yeah, what they taught me was actually this, when they start reading diligently maybe. But the earth element is to do with grounding and who am I? Am I this stereotype that's being force-fed down my throat by media and music, etc.? Or do I have an alternate? Julian Hall was talking about entrepreneurships. We're talking about, yeah, man, you can spin money legally. All right. That's where the skills of Julian Hall comes in. Our fire element deals with passion and anger. It's our most popular module, and we go real deep. One of the most important things we do is every boy has to write a letter to their father, because the father is the primordial model of a boy's manhood, whether the father is deceased in the boy's life or he's never met his father before. He will have the genetics and sometimes the nature of his father. So all of our boys go through a healing process a lot of the time where they write to their father, I've never met you, where are you? Or it could be, I love you, Dad, you do phenomenal things with me. But it's a healing. That's the fire element. We also address passion and anger. You know, how do you regulate yourself? You can be angry without being violent, without shouting. You could be angry with effective communication, getting your point across. So we teach them the social skills they'll need to navigate the system that they're going to be filtered into after school, college, and university. The other aspect of the fire element is passion. What are you passionate about? What do you want to become in the future? What is your future vision? The air element is to do with spirituality, mindfulness, and meditation. So we go through 101 meditation just so that our young people have skills in the future to regulate themselves and to keep themselves in a state of well-being. And the air element is to do with entrepreneurship, and you know how we encourage, yeah, get your qualifications, go to university, college, etc., but also consider having a business. All members of the academy have a business as well. Some of us work in mainstream education. I work in an SEMH school, high school, but I have a couple businesses. I've got a book, Sacred Man, which is a rites of passage book, amongst other things, lecturing around the country. So we say exercise the principles of entrepreneurship, as well as if you choose to have a 9-to-5 job. So that's the basic elements of Manhood Academy, and it's rites of passage in essence. And it's urban rites of passage. Why do we say that? We use that term urban, but we live in an urban environment. We no longer have to go to the forest or jungle with our young people like indigenous Africa, all right? But we do live in an urban concrete jungle, So we train our young people in the skills they will need to survive and thrive in the urban concrete jungle that we all live in.
Beautiful. And, you know, the most important part is that culturally competent delivery. And that brings us to, and thank you for that, Konsu. That brings us to my brother, Sace, who is from Mentivity and delivers mentoring in schools, which is something which is very important for our young people to be able to relate to successful people in our community who they can visually see look like them and understand that there's a pathway into industries and areas of life that they might not even have had a concept of.